Today we're going to be going over the second of the three spreadsheets. The first three formulas are formulas that we used in this first assignment, so hopefully these will be reviews. The only difference is that they're going to be in different places on the spreadsheet, so again we're going to be manipulating them so you can kind of see how you would change the formula so it still does the same thing in different cells. The first formula we're going to do is to number our assignments, and our assignments this time run from C1 all the way through M1. So I'm going to click in C1, which is where I want my first number to be. And then I'm going to click in the equal formula builders box up here and type in an equal sign. And remember, we want to look to the cell to the left that's empty, and that's going to be B1 this time. And then I'm going to add 1 to that and hit return. That gives me a 1 in the cell C1. I'm going to click on that, get a little black plus sign in the bottom right corner, and drag through my last assignment in column M, and then let go. Next, I want to do total. Remember, another word for total is sum. We're going to start off with an equal sign and type in the word sum. And then in parentheses, we're going to tell it where to start for our first worth of the formula. The worth for the first assignment is to the worth of the last assignment. And the first assignment worth is in C2. And we're going to do dot dot through our last one, which is in M2. Into parentheses and return. And we get 605 total possible points. I'm going to click on that 605, get into the bottom corner till I get a plus sign, black plus sign, and I'm going to fill down through my last student. Notice in row 3 we have no student, and we have a score of a 0. I'm going to click on that 0 and go to Edit and come down to Clear Contents because we don't want anything there. There's no student. The next one is our average. Remember, average has to do with what our total is and what individual scores are. We want to be dividing by the total, so that's when we use the dollar signs. If you remember the last time, you should always have 100% as your average where the value worth is for the assignments. We're going to start off with an equal sign, and because we're in column O, I like to use a lowercase o just so I know I'm not using 0 by mistake. So I'm going to say O2, and I want to divide by $O, $2, because I do want to divide by 605 every time. And then I'm going to times 100 to get a whole number and hit return. And I have 100.0. I'm going to click on that 100.0. I'm going to fill it down. Again, I do not have anything in cell 3, but before I delete that, I want to talk about the decimal places. You might not have all the numbers having the same number of decimal places, and you would lose points. You want your decimal places to be constant within a formula. So what you would do is you would go up to Format, come down to Cells, and then when the box pops up, you want it to be number here, and then number under category. And it says right now we have 1 decimal place. Well, I could go to no decimal places by putting a 0 there and saying OK, and now I have all whole numbers with no decimal places. I still need to get rid of my 0, so I'm going to go to Edit and Clear Contents. Now our letter grade is a different type of formula. One, it's a new formula, and another thing that's different about it is that it goes to different places, and we call those vectors. We have to know what the student's average is, and then we have to look at the grading scale. And it doesn't matter where you place your grading scale. This is where I have mine. You could put it down here underneath what the assignments were. The rule is the numbers always go above the letters, and they always get larger, 0 to 90 from left to right. You can't do it the opposite direction. Even if you flip the letters, the formula will not work. All right. This formula starts off with an equal also, and then the word lookup. And then when you start your parentheses, you're going to get a box that pops up that tells you you're dealing with vectors. Okay. And the nice thing about the vectors is it's going to color code the different places you're sending it to. I want to send it to where the averages are first, so I'm going to send it to P2. There's no $sign. Comma tells me I'm done in that location and I'm going someplace else. I'm going to put a comma. The next place I'm going to look is where the average falls in my number scale. My number scale starts at S1 and it goes through Z1. Now, it never leaves column 1, row 1, but it does change columns. So I want the $sign to be in front of the 1. So it's going to be S $1 ... through Z $1. And you notice we now have a green box around that area. All right. I'm going to use a comma because now I'm sending it to where the letter grades are, so I can assign a letter grade. And now I'm in row 2, so I want S $2 ... through Z $2. And I have a purple box, so we can check our boxes. This is our average, the letter number grade, and the letter grade. End the parentheses and return. You should always get an A where the value of the assignment is. You're going to fill that down, and we're going to get rid of the F in row 3 because there's no student there. Okay. Now this is a good time to save. We've done 4 formulas, and if for some reason your electricity cut out, your computer froze, you would lose everything you've done. So we're going to go up to File, and we're going to do Save As. And I'm just going to save to the desktop. And I'm going to change it from Spreadsheet 2 to my last name, SS2, for Spreadsheet 2. Okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and click on Save down here, and it'll change from Spreadsheet 2, .xlsx, to my last name, ss2.xlsx. My next formula is going in A3. Okay, right now it's catching up. There we go. And this is going to be a student count. It's going to let me know how many students I have in my classroom. I'm going to start off with an equal sign, and I'm going to tell the computer to count. And this time I want it to count in row A because that's where my formula is and the last names of my students are. So count A with no space between them. And then parentheses, and I want to start in A4, which is where my first student is. And I want to go through my last student. Now it's in A22. I could do A23. It's a blank line, so it's not going to count it unless there's something typed in there. But I'm going to do A22. And I'm going to go ahead and end my parentheses, and you're going to see that I have 19 students. Now let's say number 8 here, Kitty Hawk, drops my class. I'm going to select Kitty Hawk's row. And you don't have to do this, you can just watch this part. I'm going to edit, and I'm going to delete that student. My number automatically changed from 19 to 18. If I go back up to edit, and I undo the delete and put her back in my class, it will go back to 19 without me having to do anything. All right. Now, so far we've done formulas that have to do with the students' grades. The last 3 formulas has to do with the assignments themselves and not with an individual student. Those are the raw average, percent average, and standard deviation. It's looking at each assignment. The first one is going to be going in C24. It's the raw average, and it starts off with an equal sign, and then the word average. And then we want to start our parentheses, and we want to start with the grade for the first student through the grade of the last student. So it's going to be C4 through my last student, which is 22, C22. And a parentheses. And it tells me that my raw average out of 10 for this assignment was an 8. I'm going to click on that 8, get in the corner, and I'm going to drag through the last assignment. We don't calculate raw average, percent average, and standard deviations for your total or the average of the student. Now the percent average has to do with what the raw average is compared to what the assignment was worth. All right, so I'm going to start off with an equal sign. My raw average is in C24. I'm dividing it by what the assignment was worth, which is in C2. And I want it as a whole number, so it's times 100. It's an average. And it was an 81 out of 100. All right, that's for this first assignment. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to bring that across to our last assignment. Now, it's always a good idea why they're selected to go up and make sure that those decimal places are set, because if we widen some of these rows, we might see that there's decimal places that we just aren't viewing right now. So it's always a good, it's just a good thing to do for each formula to go to cells and make sure that your decimal places are in fact the same. So I'm going to leave it as 0, and I'm just going to say OK, and then I don't have to worry about it. The last one is standard deviation, and anyone that's taken any type of statistics class knows that standard deviation is the points above and below the average for each assignment. So this formula starts a little differently. It starts with an equal sign, and then the abbreviation for standard deviation, which is STDEV. And then again, we're going to go just what the assignment's scores were for the students. So it's going to be C4 ... C22, end of parentheses, and return. So for the first assignment, our raw average was 8, the percent average was 81, and the standard deviation was 3 points above and 3 points below that percent average. And we're going to click on that and fill across. All right. This here is our key. This is one place you can put a key. It's telling me the first assignment was a homework, the second one was a test. Some people like to abbreviate it and put it in this blank area here in row 3. That's up to you. All right. But we've done our 8 formulas for this assignment. We've numbered the assignments. We've figured out the student's total, the student's average, the student's grade, letter grade, the student count, the raw average for each assignment, the percent average for each assignment, and the standard deviation. Now we could go up to edit and do file and do save again, or the shortcut is the command key next to the space bar and S at the same time, and that will save it also. Either one will update it, and now you're ready to turn this one into Blackboard.